Well, good evening. It is section 1-8, Algebra with properties. And I know you've talked about properties before. What I want you to do, because there's so much here to write down, I'm going to have you hit pause, write all four of these down, and then we'll discuss them in more detail. So go ahead and take some time and do that. Alright, your hand's probably hurting now after writing all that down, but these are going to be really useful when it comes time to taking tests and quizzes, because you'll be able to use these notes. So it'll pay off in the long run, and you can use them on your homework today obviously as well. Distributive property. The word distribute pretty much summarizes what you're doing with this. When it says to distribute, it says to multiply a sum by a number, multiply each addend of the sum by the number outside the parentheses. Okay, so what you're doing is actually taking the number outside, okay, and you're going to multiply it with each of the other numbers that are inside the parentheses. So then we find that we get 3 times 4, which is what we have here, plus this sign right here is going to carry over to what we do with these two answers, and we get 3 times 6 over here. Then you would be able to solve it. You get your 12 plus the 18 to give you 30. Okay, so please remember that when you distribute, you're always going to be passing things out. If you're going to distribute a bag of candy, this right here is the bag of candy, and you're going to have to distribute each piece out to all these other students. Okay, and that is what you're doing here. You're taking this bag and you're going to break this up into 2 other parts, and this is all in helping you to be able to solve these mentally as well when you do these types of distributive properties. This is something you'll use in algebra a lot. In fact, many of these numbers inside will likely be a variable, and then you could solve them from there. Commutative property. This is the order in which 2 numbers are added or multiplied does not change their sum or product, meaning their answer. Okay, so this is the one that deals with order. The order does not matter. 5 plus 7 or 7 plus 5. Both are going to give you 12. Same thing with these. 2 times 4 or 4 times 2 both equal 8. So the order is just out of place. Order does not necessarily matter because it will not change the answer. Associative property. This is the way in which 3 numbers are grouped when they are added or multiplied. Does not change their answer. So again, the order isn't necessarily changed. It's still 2, 4, and 5, 2, 4, 5, but with the parentheses, okay, they are grouping them differently. So again, grouped is with our associative property. Commutative is order, and associative is regrouping them. So in this case, this would be 9 plus the 2, this would be the 6 plus the 5, and you can see 2 plus 9 is 11, and 6 plus 5 is also 11. Okay, this also works for the multiplication, to where you would have 15 first times the 2 to give me 30, and in this over here you get 6 times the 5, which also gives you 30. Okay, numbers are still in the same order, but they are grouped differently by the parentheses, because remember, according to our orders of operation, parentheses must be worked with first. And then the last one is identity property. It will be identity property of 0 or identity property of 1. And again, it says the sum of an addend and 0 is the addend. So basically they're saying 7 plus 0 is going to equal 7. Whatever you add to 0 will be that answer. And the same thing goes for the multiplication. The product of a factor and 1 is the factor. So 9 times 1 is going to equal 9. So when you state these, it is identity property of addition, or sorry, I said that wrong. identity property of 0 or identity property of 1. The other one would be, for these, would be associative property of addition, associative property of multiplication. And commutative property is commutative property of addition or commutative property of multiplication. Distributive property is just simply distributive property, breaking this down and breaking it up. Okay? So now the next part says use distributive property to rewrite each expression, then evaluate. So I'm going to let you go ahead and you're going to solve both of these problems and using distributive property to do so. So go ahead and answer that and make sure when you're done you evaluate, which means solve. Alright, to rewrite this, okay, we are going to say 7 times 4 plus 7 times the 3, and then to evaluate we get 28 plus 21, which is going to give me 49. So that is my answer. Check yours and see how we did ours. If there are any, if you got that incorrect, please take a look again and make note, and we can discuss it in class. For letter B, these are already divided up. So it's just simply a matter of there's really not anything to rewrite. If you wanted to go the opposite way with this, sometimes students do that to where it's 3 times and then the 9 plus the 3 times the 6, which is going in the reverse order. Okay, and you can do that, and then to solve this particular problem, you would then be taking 9 plus the 6, which is 15. Times the 3, which then equals 45. Okay, but that's the reverse of distributive property. They already had it distributed for you right here, to where you would take 3 times 9, which is your 27, plus the 3 times 6, which is 18, and then add those together to get your 45. Okay. Now it says name the property shown by each statement. So go ahead and name these, and we'll go from there. So go ahead and hit pause. Alright, we're looking at letter C, and this is the same order. 6 plus 5 plus A, same as what we have over here, but our parentheses are in a different spot, so therefore it is associative property. And it is associative property of, what operation is this? Addition. Make sure you get that part added into it. Letter D, this is the same. This is out of order. It is the same numbers but different order. Therefore, it is commutative property, and is commutative property of, since these are multiplication, you can do that, and a lot of times you can abbreviate that to where it's commutative property of multiplication. I have no problem with you abbreviating these as well. Okay, so again, take note of that, and we can discuss further tomorrow. And then we have E and F, so go ahead and solve those. This is a 0, and 0 plus t equals t. This would be my identity property of 0. Okay? And this one is going to be 225 times 1 is 225, so again, it's identity property of 1. So go ahead and take note of these, and this is pretty much what you're doing today. I think you're going to find properties aren't as difficult as maybe they've been in the past, but it is important that you know what those properties are, and it all builds up for understanding the different components of solving things algebraically, like we did yesterday. So have a great evening, and hope you're enjoying my big campus.